Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm one of the current ICSP coordinators, and I'm from Sweden. Thank you so much for being here today.
It's nice to meet you.
You have 5 minutes for your presentation, and when there's 1 minute left, I'll give you a sign like this. Please stay within the 5 minutes.
Thank you all for having me here, and without further ado, I'm gonna get started on the presentation. Do you know the words to your favorite song? How many songs do you know? How about history? Can you repeat your favorite speech from the beginning to the end? One last question. Do you know the names of all the presidents of your country from its creation up until today? Well, back in the time before books and writings were very common, memorization was a very important skill to have. There is this one group of Malians, referred to as the Jalis, that perfected the art of memorization. My name is Mahamadou. I'm from Mali, more specifically from the capital, Bamako. Today I'm gonna be talking to you about that specific group. And in that presentation, I'm gonna be covering who they are, what roles they were trusted to play in the society of ancient Mali, and how those roles changed from that time up until today. To give you some context, every society had to keep track of their history by creating a collective memory. But as you know, some people had to put more effort into that so others can focus on different tasks. The Jalis do not only have to memorize the history and put more effort into memorizing them, they also were trusted with passing it down to their offspring so they can be oral historians themselves. Those oral historians were trained from childhood until adulthood, and they used to memorize the history of families, royal lineages, the history of Malian people, and the history of Mali as a whole. Now, what are the roles the ancient society of Mali trusted the Jalis to fulfill for them? When you were called a Jali back in the time, people knew already that you were highly skilled, and then you could do an array of things for the society. There were advisors because people would go to them and take advantage of the fact that they were wise people of the society to solve their problems. There were also diplomats because they would carry messages from one empire to the other or mediate if need be. There were peacemakers in the society because they would resolve conflicts between brothers, families, or husband and wife. There were also praise singer, interpreters because they learned many languages, almost all the languages of their society growing up. They were also translators for that same reason. Now let's turn to the third question. How those roles changed from ancient Mali to nowadays society in Mali? Well, as you may have guessed, we have writings and we have books and a lot of people who can read. So they're not historians as much as they used to be back in the time, but they're still a very important part of the society. Jalis are peacemakers. When two families are in conflict, the easiest way to resolve the conflict is to get a Jali involved because they are respected in the society and they have these skills of convincing people to calm down and to make peace between them. They also lead the process of proposing to somebody the traditional way because you had to send a Jali to the family of the bride to ask for the hand of the person you want to marry. And when a Jali goes, that increases your chance of getting a positive answer. Jalis are also entertainers in nowadays society. They help celebrate the weddings or the birth of society members. As you can see, there is not that much difference between how important the Jalis were back in the time and how important they are in nowadays society. It's my pleasure sharing my culture with you here today, and I'm ready for the interview questions whenever you are.
So Muhammadi, what do you enjoy about culture sharing? Tell us about this.
I think of it this way. Think about your favorite song. You always want to share it with people, make them listen to it so they can enjoy it as much as you do. Well, that's how I see my culture as. That's why I like sharing it with everybody. I see myself as an ambassador, and instead of, the media giving information to people that are not very accurate, I prefer to use my personal experience to give first-hand experience to people. That's what I like about culture sharing. I want to be the media that carries my culture from my country to the Portland and the Portland community.
So this is my question for you, Mahamadou. Imagine that you're giving a presentation and someone asks an insulting question about your culture. How would you handle the situation?
That's a very good question. Can I have a minute to think about it, please? Thank you. First of all, from what I understood from the ICSP website, the members' role is culture sharing, which I see as a duty of educating others. Somebody making such a comment about my culture or my country is proof that they don't know much about it, obviously. And that's an opportunity for me to give them the information, the first-hand information that I have to them. So depending on the situation, it might not be appropriate to adjust their comment right away because it would take time from other people. But if time allowed, I would address their question with my first-hand knowledge and maybe correct whatever misconception they're bringing it up. If time doesn't allow, I would connect with them after my presentation to make sure I still give them that information and hopefully it would benefit them.
What does professionalism mean to you?
You know, that's a really good question. Thinking about professionalism, now that I'm in the US, I realize that it's totally different from how I looked at it back in my country. If I attend a meeting 10 to 15 minutes late back in my country, that's not unprofessional. But in the US, I have to be on time to display professionalism. So to me, professionalism is whatever is expected from you on a social level. Most of them are unspoken rules that are expected from you, from your fellows, your friends, your teachers, your supervisors. That's what I would consider professionalism, because what is expected from me back in my country is different from what is expected from me in Portland and the US society.
What do you know about the ICSP? Please tell us a little bit about it.
After doing my research, I checked the ICSP website, and what I understood from that is that this program is specifically for international students to give them an opportunity to share their culture in Portland. I also saw that to share their culture, they do volunteering, presentations, as well as one-on-one interviews. And in return for that effort that they put in, they receive a tuition remission. One thing that I really liked on the website is the benefits of the ICSP and how it can benefit me as a member. So the way I was looking at it is that I was just gonna join this program and me sharing my culture is gonna benefit them, but in fact, what I receive from doing that is much more valuable.